Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
Gary and I have identified 2 challenges to potentially catch up with the big boys in the UK Courier Express parcel market. If you want to find out who they are, keep watching.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, last week we were talking about the big news with Evri and DHL. We ended up talking for quite a long time, and we didn't really have time to cover a few, I'd say, other important stories that are associated with that. And I think maybe if I use a bit of football speak, which I'm not very good at, so you might correct me, but if we said that there are a few players that are absolutely sort of first division, but actually only a few that are in the Premier League. And if I remember correctly, we said last week that without doubt at the moment it's going to be Evri and DHL. It's going to be Royal Mail. It's going to be, who did we have the third one? Amazon Logistics, and there was one more.
They were my 3. We kind of did.
That's right. You had 3. That's it. You had 3.
The thing that strikes me is on a normal recording or a normal week, we had some really big news to talk about, which was DPD's the announcement of them working more closely with Yeet. Now that fell between recordings, and Alan Barry gave us a nudge and said, "Why haven't you talked about our announcement?" And I think under normal circumstances, we would have been very pleased to lead with that last week as the big news of the last month. But it just got completely overshadowed by the Evri announcement.
Well, let's come back to that. In fact, actually, let's cover it, because what we, I think, wanted to do today is to say, okay, so if we've got the guys at the front of the peloton, we've now got the guys that theoretically could make it. And if I remember correctly, we were talking about InPost and Yodel. We're talking about DPD, and now with this agreement with Yeep. And frankly, that's it. And the question is, what is your take on it? Can they make it? If so, what would they need to do? I mean, I need to say from my side, and I know you're on sensitive ground because Quadient, in a way, is a direct competitor with Yeep. But as far as we can discuss it, I have concerns about the numbers that were being shared with the media being realistic. But anyway, Gary, what's your take?
So I think the way I think about, and I haven't said this on the recording before, but the market, I think, is cleaved into. There are people that want things delivered for nothing, and there are people that want things delivered right now. There are the I want it for nothing, and I want it now. I'm an I want it for nothing. My wife is an I want it now. And what we're seeing is this becoming more polarized. So the people that are succeeding in the I want it for nothings are the guys that can go out and win volume from Temu and Shein and win vintage volume and are able to have a cost base that enables them to compete in that £1 something, £2 something, small packet home delivery market. That's where Evri live. That's where Royal Mail have been dominant in the past. And that's where InPost wins its vintage volume and other volume in the UK. The I want it nows are where DPD wins. You know, they want high service integrity, next day delivery. I want to know exactly where it is. I want to know it's coming at 11:37 tomorrow morning because I'm squeezing it in between walking the dog and going to the hairdresser. You know, that's what the world is about. And I think what you're seeing is DPD's watching the explosive growth in the I want it for nothing market and has to respond to broaden their offer from the I want it nows. So hence this huge announcement of 8,000 more lockers coming from Yeep. Now, they've made big announcements in the past. 1,000 are going to be done within 3 months. They weren't. 3,000 were going to be done by the end of last year. They weren't. They still, I don't believe they're at 1,000 now, or if they are, it's close to it. So they've got a big mountain to climb ahead. And this is my opinion, not Quadient's opinion. They've got a mountain to climb. Getting that number of lockers on the ground is not easy. It takes an army. You look at the size of the organisation that InPost have built in the UK, 90, 100 people. The organisation that Yeep have in the UK is nothing like that. It's much smaller.
You know what, Gary? I'll just jump in because, believe it or not, this is one where I'm going to say I agree with you. Yeah. I've spoken to some of my friends from representing very large Chinese businesses. And I remember exactly this. There was a story that there's going to be, well, maybe not overnight, but in a short space of time, huge numbers of lockers in situ, and it just doesn't work that way. I mean, I think there's another point, Gary, that we've seen that Amazon has already got quite a large network. InPost has quite a large network. Kretinsky has said that Royal Mail will have, I think it was 20,000. You know, when you start looking at that, is there room for another network of 8,000 machines?
if it's at the right price point and the customer experience is right, I think there's probably room for 50,000 lockers in the UK personally. There's 60, 70 million people. The 1 for 10,000 rule. We've got huge density in Japan, and the lockers are full. So I think there's room, but the offering's got to be right. And I think to keep the confidence of the people you're working with, you've got to say what you're going to do and then do what you've said you're going to do. Now, Quadient's in a different situation because it's a publicly listed company. So if our CEO says to the market, I'm going to spend 10 million on lockers next year and I'm going to put this many on the ground, he's held accountable for that. And our share price moves positively or negatively based on our performance. Not many of the organisations that are out there competing with Quadient have the same level of scrutiny. InPost Group, if they say I'm going to do 3,000 in France, they have to do 3,000 in France. They're publicly traded. So it's a different world. And I think for DPD, they've got a close association with Kern, who are the ultimate owners of Yeep. They're co-owners of the network, very successful network, Pudo. It's called Pudo, but it's lockers in Spain and Portugal. And they work together in other markets. So strategically, I think it's a great thing to do. But I think there's a mountain to climb to get Yeep from being a minority player to having a significant number like 8,000 lockers on the ground. The other question is, who else is going to use them apart from DPD? If everybody else is doing their own, who are their other customers to fill the rest of it up?
And this is the thing, because I've seen this in Poland. I completely agree with the idea that 50,000 is possible in the UK, but not 50,000 split over 4 or 5 networks. I think it may well be 50,000, but my personal feeling is you're probably talking about 3 plus minus networks that can do it. Maybe treating Amazon as a separate one because of its nature. Well, look, in that case, let's summarize. Wishing, of course, both InPost and Yodel, who are my horse that I'm putting the bet on, that they can really make it. Also, I spent most of my business life with Geopost DPD Group, so wishing them a lot of success. But I think it's going to be a very, very difficult challenge. Maybe if the audience have a different view, you may think that we're completely barking up the wrong tree, then please add your comments. And traditionally, if you've enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. It helps us keep these videos free. Gary, I think another really great one. Enjoyed talking. Looking forward to the next one.
See you soon.